Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Okay, now I'm on mic, so it is official. The meeting has reconvened. So thank you all for the morning. I saw your engagement. It seemed like you had a good morning, learned some stuff with personal brand. You've got some action items around your personal brand. Feeling good about that? And also, it looks like you guys were having some great conversations upstairs with the GM, so I'm glad that seemed to work out nicely. So there's little snacks on your table if you get hungry. So I'm going to introduce our afternoon speaker. And I don't know, speaker is quite the right word, but we'll just leave it at that. It is John Sweeney from the Brave New Workshop, and he is going to help us all learn about Agile leadership, Agile communication, and whatever else he has up his sleeve. So it's I'm going to just go ahead and hand it over.
Wonderful. You can clap now. Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. We are going to spend the next few hours diving headfirst into the art form of improvisational comedy. Not with the goal of teaching any of you how to be funny, or actually not with the goal of teaching you how to perform improvisation. But we're going to look at it kind of in a liberal arts learning model, and we're going to look at the behaviors and attitudes and maybe even the cultural norms that exist within a good improvisational scene, which is truly a group of people who are listening to their customers and instantly creating product in an innovative way, and see what we can do to translate that to the behaviors that you're working on to improve your skills and improve your career. And I'm pretty passionate about the necessity of that practice part. So you'll get to know me a little bit. I got kind of a cold today, so I'll probably be less obnoxious, which is good for you guys. But I've had an odd little life at 46 years. So I did pretty competitive college football, and then I did the real world for 7 years. And then for the last 15 years, I've been in the world of the arts. And I've realized that in athletics and in art, we practice almost all of the time. Well beyond 90% of our time is spent practicing. We understand what skills are needed to execute well, and then we spend all of our time getting coached and practicing. And then there's this world, in our world, where we continue to be asked to increase our skill sets, our level of responsibility, our new technologies, our new stretching of who we are so we can accommodate the corporate mission and increase shareholder value. But I asked the question, why in the world aren't we practicing these things? And so today we'll practice a lot. We'll practice the behaviors, and we'll actually do the stuff where you can practice the behaviors instead of just saying, you really need to be more agile as a leader, which means you need to accept different points of view, have somewhat of an authentic chameleon approach to leadership, and make sure that you're receiving and sending messages in a way that's most palatable for the people that you're trying to maximize. Great. Understand words, put them up there. And I'm wondering how you're going to get better at that if you don't actually start practicing being agile, doing things that make you stretch your agility. My silly little football story is when I got to football, at the beginning of freshman year, they realized that I was either shorter or slower or both than they, for some reason, thought. So they moved me to a new position. And so I had spent my entire life, from second grade until college, playing football on 2 feet, being able to see the field, and being able to really understand that perspective. And now for the first time ever, I had to play football on my hands and knees and really go from a field perspective to a 3-foot by 3-foot perspective. And I had to work on new muscles and new hand-eye coordination and new understandings of strategy. And it was difficult. And this silly little game, this silly little college, decided that if I was going to do that and be productive and add value to my team, they better give me a specific coach, put me on a specific diet, videotape my right arm, take me off the team for a year so I could get good enough to go back and add value, give me a specific exercise regime, have me watch films of people who did what I did really, really well. All that for a silly little game of football that, by the way, 3 years later, I never played again in my life. And think of what we talked about this morning. I got here at 11, so I just kind of got through the wonderful explanation of a career path or strategic moves or a nice perspective on career path. And think of all of the things that would be necessary to do what he did, all the different types of skills, all the different types of perspectives, and yet you didn't hear a lot. And so when I started that job, they were like, we really want you to do a good job, so we're going to take you off, we're going to pay you, but you're going to get a year to get better at that. That's just not how it works. So today we'll push you a little bit, because I'm kind of a big advocate of you can know as much as you want, but you need to do a lot to get better at your career and get better at leadership. So one of the things we'll first start out with is you have to be great communicators. So I'll push you to communicate today. There won't be many times as you further your career where people won't need to know your opinion, and you won't be able to, you'll have to share that with them in an eloquent way. So I'll ask you questions. I'll ask you to be verbal. If you're shy, that's a great way to practice stretching yourself. We'll create a safe environment in this room because we all kind of have the same goal, is to get better at this stuff. So that means the flaw rate will be really, really high, and that'll be part of the learning process. So you don't have to worry about being embarrassed or being stressed out. We'll support each other for the next few hours as a way to take some time, because I got a feeling tomorrow you're going to have some emails and some calls and some meetings. So we got a gift. And so we'll start with some communications. Improvisers have about 2 to 3 minutes from the time they understand what the customer has said they wanted to go into strategy, development, and then bring it to market. We do all that in 2 to 3 minutes. So one of the things we really have to be great at is declaring our point of view and communicating really sharply. So my point of view for this very moment, a couple of things. First and foremost, gratitude. I'm getting paid for this, a lot of money. I'm really, really grateful for the business. I own a comedy theater with my wife in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll take this money and we'll go back and give it to our 42 employees, who are the most wonderful people you'll ever meet in your life. And they'll use it for frivolous things like healthcare and education and rent, car payments. So on behalf of all of us, I'm really, really grateful to Microsoft. I think this is the 6th bench I've done, and this is the 111th engagement I've done at Microsoft Corporations in the last 10 years. So I'm really grateful for that. You help us keep our theater and our school alive, so I'm grateful. I'm also grateful from a personal standpoint. I spent the first half of my life on a dairy farm in Wisconsin. So today I woke up with the same damn mantra I've had that when things don't go great, I remind myself of. And that mantra was, today, Sweeney, you will not milk a cow. Okay? No way. You will not pick rocks out of a field all day long and well know that next spring, new rocks will be pushed up and you'll have to pick those up. You won't shovel shit. Not one single time today will I have to do that. I might spew some, but I will not be dealing with manure in any way today. That lunch was free, and it was awesome. There is Hershey bars in that glass thing right there. I can go get 7 if I wanted. It's an unbelievable day. And I'm trite and I'm silly, but I try to, as a leader of our small little organization and someone who needs to bring positive attitude to the people I work with every day, remind myself of some of those simple things. And I'll remind it to you now, and I'll remind it to you when we leave. You work for Microsoft Corporation. Do you remember that every day? It's a really, really, really big deal. You don't sell term life insurance. You don't mine coal. You don't sweep city streets. You don't work in a dairy farm. You work for one of the most respected, innovative, amazing organizations on the entire planet. You talk about the 1%ers. You're a 1%er. You get to work at an awesome place. I get to work at an awesome place. I hope you come and see the Brave New Workshop. We don't have your scope and scale, but I'll rival you. It's a fun, awesome place to work, and we are innovative, and we are proud of our organization. So, gratitude. Second point of view, humility. I'm the reason the bell curve works, folks. I am the dumbest guy in the room by far, but I got a little bit of energy, so I got through college on that. You all do things and know about things that literally are above my comprehension. So today, I don't have anything to tell you. I'd like to share some things, some behavioral things. I don't even think I have a good grasp on the psychology of what we do as improvisers. I simply want to show you what I've learned and have you practice and make you laugh while we're practicing as a way to help. That's about how complicated I get. I can't really go above and beyond that. I know that there's some miracles that I've seen in the 10,000 students that have come through our school, that this art form has helped people be their best selves. And so I want to serve you. And I don't want to tell you much because that would just be ridiculous. I also spent a little bit of time, as I mentioned, in the corporate world, and so I would go to things, not prestigious things like this, but you gather people together and they'd pay some guy and he would stand up and he would tell you if you followed his simple 5-step plan, you'd make $1 million and lose 20 pounds and blah, 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 blah. And I was always in the back, pretty drunk and really cynical, always thinking, well, if it's so damn easy, let me ask you a question, fella. Why the hell aren't you doing that simple plan and being a millionaire instead of yapping at us in a cheap suit all day, all right? So today I don't want to tell you anything, but I'm really, really excited to share some of these things about this art form because you're going to immediately attach to them and say, wow, there's some wonderful insights here. Then the third point of view I have is just unbridled energy for a couple reasons. I've had 4 or 5 pots of coffee and 3 Redmonds, so I'm ready to go, all right? I got a little energy. You'll see this all the day long, and then I take the red eye home. I'll sleep on the plane, all right? And so I have it in general. This kind of unbridled, odd, unpredictable energy started when I was 4. I went through 19 years of Catholic education, but a lot of those nuns are dead now, so it's going to be okay. And when I was 4, Sister Pedra said, why don't you draw in between the lines? And of course, I immediately drew outside the lines. So she slapped my left hand, or as they used to call it, the wand of the devil. And she gave me a new piece of paper and had a bear on it. And she said, color in the bear. So I colored it in with blue crayon. She slapped it again. She said, that's wrong. Bears are brown. And so I turned it over and I drew a wonderful picture of a nun with her head on fire. So I don't have the ability to control my energy a lot, and it's pretty sporadic, and it's fun. And so that's who I am as a person. But then I've learned as an improviser, and maybe as someone who leads a company, and maybe as someone who gets to learn from you guys every day as I'm out there looking in the best corporations in the world, is that as trite as it seems, sometimes it boils down to a little bit of extra energy and a little bit of extra passion. You've got all the models, you've got all the career paths, you've got all the leadership things, you can take all the courses, but the one thing I find is that people who are migrating up or kind of increasing their value to organizations somehow find a way to, even when things aren't perfect, to find that positive energy, to just maybe wake up a little bit differently, or maybe fake it that day. And so I'll give you energy all day long until it's time to leave, and I hope you give it back. So those are my 3 points of view for communication. We are going to be active all day long. If there is something that we do that you physically can't do, that's really super cool, and we won't even have to talk about it. Just decide not to volunteer. If there's something that we're going to do that you're like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work for me, absolutely go do it right away. Just leap at it, jump right at it. Because I promise you, everything we do today is being done in our School of Improvisation, which is adults like yourself who live in Minneapolis and work for 3M or Medtronic or Boston Scientific or Target or Best Buy. And they come to use improvisation as a way to hone their skills, to find their most innovative and authentic self. So I'm not going to push you to a point. We're not going to do a ropes course, and I'm not going to, blindfold you and tell you to drink something without looking at it or whatever it is. We'll leave that for the other companies. So I'm going to push you today, but it's going to be fun. So the first thing that we need to do is to stop this sitting with our hands folded. So everyone can stand up and we'll come over here. And you can clap on your way over. Here we go. Woo!